I'd like to call to order and welcome everyone to the November 12th, 2024 Midtown Redevelopment Board meeting. May we have a roll call, please?
Angela Vardy,
Present.
Davida Bonner,
Present.
Ms. Renee Richardson,
Present.
Mr. Lynn Thompson,
Present.
Ms. Kathy Washington, Ms. Joan Shepherd, and Pastor Ailey called us ahead.
Okay. And now we will have the invocation by Mr. Thompson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for a beautiful city. We thank you for what you have done. And we ask, oh God, that you will continue to unify our hearts and minds as we work together to make this place even greater than it is now. We thank you for the safe haven that you have created for all of us. We thank you, oh God, for providing safety for us during the storm that passed. We thank you for the great leadership of this city and the citizens who are falling in line to follow the leadership as we continue to redevelop the plans to make it even better. We thank you, oh God, for what you are doing in our state and our nation. And as we continue to deliberate tonight for the plans to make it even better, we pray, oh God, that you will allow us to unify our thoughts, our hearts, and our minds on this agenda and the things to come. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving along, we are moving to the approval of the agenda. Has everyone had an opportunity to view the September 10th agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda for September 10th?
I motion to approve the agenda for September's meeting.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, like sign? Motion carries for the approval of the agenda. Moving to the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to view them? Can I have a motion for the approval of the minutes for September 10th?
Yeah, I've read them.
Okay,
So moved.
can I have a second?
I second.
Okay, approved, I'm sorry. Any opposed, same like sign? Motions carry for the approval of the minutes.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
we had a proper motion and it was
Motion?
seconded, but we didn't have a affirmative vote on all in favor.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, rushing it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed, like signs? Okay, motion carries for the approval of the minutes. And moving forward to staff report. Richard Mayer. I'm sorry, is it Sergeant? Lieutenant. All right, welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
Good evening.
I apologize if my decorum and form isn't as good as Captain Condi, but I'm going to do my
Same
best.
beard, though.
Okay.
So, just to go over some of the current statistics over the last period within District 1 of the Police Department, which is the west side of the city. During the most recent crime stat reporting period of October 14th through November 11th, the District 1 Patrol handled 2,940 calls for service, 683 written reports, 94 felony arrests, 106 misdemeanor arrests, 444 traffic stops, 439 citations. We unfortunately had a homicide. The homicide was in fact cleared by arrest. We had 7 aggravated assaults, 3 of which involved firearms, 3 involved knives, 1 was a physical fight. 4 were cleared by arrest, 1 is currently an outstanding warrant, 1 is an outstanding affidavit, and a couple of ongoing investigations going on there. We have 8 domestic violence-related aggravated assault investigations, 5 of which were cleared by arrest by patrol, 3 are currently ongoing. We have 5 simple domestic violence arrests, 5 were all completed by affidavit. 13 burglary investigations, I'm happy to report 3 were cleared by arrest. 3 sexual offense investigations, 2 were cleared by arrest, and we have a suspect identified in another ongoing investigation related. We have 5 vehicle theft investigations, 2 of which were attempts. 2 suspects were identified with affidavits on all. 3 ongoing investigations. We had 10 larceny car breaks. 2 were cleared by arrest, 7 are ongoing. 1 was actually header changed to a no info, no actual car break occurred. We just had the wrong information at the time of reporting. 2 of which were forced entry, 7 of which were unlocked. And 2 loitering and prowling arrests were made during that period. As far as some of the events we experienced over this time, patrol was present for Biketoberfest. During that time, District 1 personnel completed the following: 95 property checks, 6 calls, and 8 traffic stops. During Biketoberfest, I'm happy to report there were no reported motorcycle thefts during the entire event citywide. That's actually extremely big. My prior assignment was over the auto theft and property crimes unit, so that is a huge win.
Yeah.
That is a huge win. We went through BCU homecoming. We did proactive patrols. On 10/25 that Saturday, the stats were 10 calls, 2 reports, 2 tows, 12 traffic stops, and 5 uniform traffic citations. Halloween, we had 0 reported issues related to the event of Halloween. And then during the election that we all just experienced, we had no reported issues pertaining to the election. Right now, we have a strategic proactive operation going on in the district. During the reported, District 1 implemented a strategic plan and identified several locations where violent crimes occurred since January 1st. This plan has included separating these locations by 3 specific crime criteria. Those crime criteria are going to be weapons complaints, person shot, and aggravated felonies. Those terminology are just what we use at time of dispatch to kind of break them down. District 1 personnel were provided with this information, and each of these locations are being specifically patrolled proactively to reduce potential retaliation and ongoing violence. The proactive approach has resulted in a significant decrease in violent persons crimes during this reporting period. This plan is going to remain in effect until the end of the year as results continue to be fruitful. In addition to these proactive policing strategies, the Reserve Division began the holiday detail during this reporting period, which consisted of the deployment of the mobile command post, our big box truck with the lights on it, and it's being deployed in high traffic commercial areas wherever people are shopping and getting their goods. And it's to reduce the property crimes at our local businesses. District 1 currently has proactive operations that ran on 10/23, 11/1, and 11/8, which included 14 calls for service, 3 reports, felony arrest, misdemeanor arrest, 60 traffic stops, 47 citations, 73 extra patrols, 11 subject stops that were field interviewed, 4 bicycle stops, and a towed vehicle. Some of the areas that we concentrated on during this operation I'm discussing are Palmetto Park, PPU, Joe Harris Park, Daisy Stocking Park, Derbyshire Apartments, Wedgwood, the Anatole, Volusia Mall, Daytona Gardens, Palmetto Park, I wrote that twice and I apologize. Caroline Village, the Baymount Hotel on the very west end of our city, Caroline Village, Jean Street, with some extra concentration down on Hawk, Alamanda, and Hudson, some extra concentration on Division because of crime trends. South Caroline, Fairmount Road, Orange Ave, Carolina Lake Drive, MMB, Magnolia Ave, Keat Street, BCU Campus, Cedar Street, Derby Road, and Carl Brinkley Circle. We do have some upcoming events. We have the Turkey Rod Run, which runs, I believe, November 27th through December 1st. The Clash Triathlon, which runs December 8th. The Christmas Parade, which runs December the 14th. And then New Year's Eve, obviously, on New Year's Eve. That's what I've been able to prepare so far as the current criminal statistics for District 1.
Well, I have to say, very informative. A lot of information. Thank you for that, because we haven't had that volume and stuff. So it's great to see that you guys are all over and doing great things. So thank you for keeping us safe.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
I do have not a question, but a concern.
Yes, sir.
If you can bring it to the staff. There is a business located on 879 MMB, convenience store, that is out of control. I own a business located at 901. This convenience store, it's got activity that is impeding on everybody in the area. They're gambling, they're fighting, they're selling drugs constantly. The other morning, I was at my business at 7:15 in the morning, and they were smoking dope, selling drugs. They're parking in my parking lot. They're throwing dice right in front of the building. I think everybody, probably the staff, the city staff knows about it. And even in the Pine Haven, several of the guys who were doing it live in apartments right adjacent to it, and they're running constantly back and forth. So I needed to bring that to somebody's attention because we can't take it no more.
I appreciate the information. Not only will I pass it on to the command staff to ensure all the other units have it, I'm actually the midnight shift commander for the west side of Daytona, and we will start a patrol level operation on that
They are
tonight.
They are known to have block parties right there late at night sometimes. I mean, I don't know what hours they keep, but they're late hours, and the traffic right there on Adams Street and that intersection is just horrendous. And a lot of citizens or elderly citizens are afraid to even travel up and down that street.
Yes, sir. I will pass that along to the command staff, and we will begin an operation on my platoon tonight.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
I just had one. With the arrests and the statistics that you guys, that you formulated and presented to us, have you guys found that a lot of those suspects were residents or from other areas?
I do not currently have the statistics on the suspects being residents or guests, but I can get that compiled, and I'll pass that on to Captain Connie, so whoever comes in next time, we can have those answers for you.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize, I overlooked that.
You may have not, I'm Michelle, I'm the redevelopment project manager. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
You might have taken Captain Condi's position. Don't tell him I said that.
That's the unfortunate thing. You do a good job, you have to get more jobs. Thank you very much, that means a lot.
Okay, thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and next up is code compliance, Ms. Kirk.
Good evening, Sarah Kirk, Code Inspector for the City of Daytona Beach. For the months of September and October, I did a printout showing 33 cases total. 28 were code, 1 was a utility complaint, 3 were vacant lots, and 1 was a blighted property case or a condemnation. Code is continuing to address complaints and also work with residents and allow extra time from the hurricane to work with them to achieve compliance. Does anybody have any questions or concerns I can address?
No? Anyone? All right,
Thank
thank you. All right, and Ms. Tolliver, redevelopment.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members. I'm Michelle Tolliver, the Redevelopment Project Manager for Midtown, and I'd like to share with you some projects in Midtown. On the at the October 16th City Commission meeting, Before you is one of the, actually, it's 3 separate parcels. The former Campbell Hotel and the parking lot was one acquisition, and then immediately east of the Campbell Hotel building is a vacant lot. These were recent purchases approved by the City Commission at the October 16th meeting. And this is an aerial view, and the next slide shows you the street view, the slither of grass to the left, and the parking lot and the building were the purchases that I'm referring to on the aerial slide. Those buildings are currently owned by the City of Daytona Beach, and the plan is to turn that into, I didn't add the slide by mistake, but the plan is to add that, is to demolish the building and do a mixed-use building. It will end up being 3 to 4 floors. The 4th floor would be a balcony, not a balcony, open courtyard. It won't have a roof. Can't think of the name of it right now, but visually it's going to be open.
Okay.
And the other floors will be apartments, and the first floor will be retail space. But I apologize for not adding that slide. I just thought about it as I'm talking about it. But the plan is to demolish the building as soon as we can. The next slide is another purchase that was approved on October 16th by the City Commission. This aerial view is at the corner of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard, very near where, does this have a pointer on it? Yeah. Very near, this is the property that Mr. Thompson is talking about right there, if you all can see that. Can y'all see that?
We don't see your corner.
Joe, help me out. The property that Mr. Thompson was referring to is immediately west of this. Can y'all zoom in on that? Okay, the reason why I'm pointing that out, that's okay, guys. Y'all come through for me in the clutch all the time. Y'all ain't perfect. There we go. So the property, see where it says Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard? The ETHUNE. That's the property that Mr. Thompson is referring to, and it came up from one of our commissioners that that is a location that we need to pursue if we plan to make this a beautiful complex. So the reason I mention that is because he just mentioned it, and here's the slide, but going back to my presentation. There are 4 separate parcels that, thank you, Joe. There are 4 separate parcels that we purchased, and the next slide will show you a street view of it. So this is an older photo. It looks worse than this now, but there's a casket store that's a single-family home, and then there's a 2-level building. We used to have a laundromat on one side and office or businesses on the other, and apartments on top. And then the next slide shows you the first slide to your left is the back part of the laundromat, which is an open area. It's combined with the laundromat parking lot, and then all the way to the back where you see the orange building, not to the left, not to the left, but all the way back, behind the laundromat building and the apartments is another vacant lot. So let me go back. So behind the laundromat is that little weird shaped lot, and then where I'm going to show you next is the house, but I was just trying to give you your bearings. It's 2 vacant lots, the laundromat and the parking, and then a house on DeSoto.
Okay.
So that's why I'm showing you. This is the aerial view of the front, and this is on DeSoto, where you have a vacant lot that's attached to the parking lot, and in the back is that jagged shaped vacant lot, and then to your right is the house.
Is that the house over on the left in
Yeah.
the big photo?
Yes, yep. And I just took a front view of that same house where the black car is. It's the same house off to the left. And the plan for this property, I didn't put that slide on there. It is for on the side facing Dr. Bethune Boulevard, you will have the existing building will remain, and we will demolish the casket store, and we will build a 2-level building where you would have retail on the bottom of both. You're going to end up with two-story buildings facing Dr. Bethune Boulevard. And then the second floor will have apartments, roughly 2-bedroom, 2-bath is what we're looking at. And then the property on DeSoto Street, from where can't see the parking lot on here, but over to the left is where the parking lot starts. Y'all who have been here, see the parking lot is, I wish I had a pointer, but the parking lot is,
There it is, it started.
I didn't do that. Joe did. My boys back there work. No, go to the opposite side where it's vacant. It's right there. Yeah, starting closer to the MMB. Yes, right there. So imagine from that corner all the way back to where the furthest property line is on DeSoto, where the house is now. All the way down. One more. Okay, there you go. Now I'm going to leave this slide, guys. Thank you so much. So imagine from MMB all the way down to where the property line ends at that house where the black car is. We're going to do townhomes.
All right.
They're going to be facing DeSoto. So that's the plan. I have those preliminary plans, but because the commission hasn't seen them, I didn't want to share them. Because I want them to say, ooh, ah, first.
Okay.
Then y'all can say, ooh, ah, okay? And then I can keep my job with my boss. Won't get him in trouble, I won't get in trouble.
Understand.
Protocol.
Okay.
This one I didn't leave out. I mean, by mistake. I left this one out on purpose because they saw a substitute for what we wanted to do when we presented at the commission meeting. So we're going to leave the slides alone for a while. I can't click to the next one because that's next on my list. So the next item I want to cover is that staff attended the 2024 FRA conference in Tampa, the 22nd through the 25th. I think those were the days in October. And Mandy laughing at me because Mandy worked hard to get us to the conference. But anyway, we did a tour of West Tampa and East Tampa. West Tampa, we saw a lot of huge multifamily development that looked dilapidated, worse than anything we've probably seen here. And to see it transformed was just amazing. We didn't get off the bus, but we were able to see the multifamily property from the bus. And then we went over to East Tampa, where we saw this beautiful partnership with an agency that reminds me a lot of Boys and Girls Club, but they had a lot of components to it. It had the mentoring, it had the after-school program, it had the athletics, and it was all under one building, and they had a partnership with the CRA in Tampa, but it was phenomenal. It was just state-of-the-art. Michelle, why you don't have pictures? I don't know. Did he take pictures? No, we were just looking. And I think we might have taken some pictures, but it was awesome. It's a beautiful center. It was. Yes, yes. They even had the food part. I forget what they called it, but they did, it wasn't food prep. It gave them culinary type experience, but it was nice. It was very nice. And we went on to the cigar factory after we left the community center. And we toured areas that Ken used to run. I ain't gonna tell you what he ran and did, but he used to run around the parts of Tampa that we saw. And you know, he shared memories. I used to visit Tampa a lot, and I shared some of the memories in the neighborhoods we were in. Some of them were changed, some of them were still in the shape that they were many years ago, but most of it was improved. But the cigar visit was nice as well. They're in a CRA, and they've done a lot of work with the historic building that they're in, with the cigar factory. And I think that was the last stop on the tour, and then we went back to the hotel for the rest of the conference. One other item, while we were at the conference, Phoebe and I both received our Redevelopment Administrator certification. We actually graduated from the FRA, and that's what that photo shows there. And Phoebe also did a presentation at the conference, and I don't have a picture of that, but we have one, I just don't have it. The next item is on my list that I'm reporting, not on the screen, is we have approval from the City Commission as of last week, the 4th. I don't know if I didn't give you copies, so I'm verbally just going to give you the information. We have a Hurricane Milton grant program for homeowners, renters, and business owners who were impacted by the hurricane. If you don't have an application, I have copies of them here if you need them, and we also have them in the lobby. They're going to be in the lobby until we run out of money or until we run out of time. But that is available. $9,000 is the max that the homeowner and the renter can take advantage of, and the small business owner can take advantage of up to $5,000. The next item is Choice Neighborhood Design Charrette. You should have copies of this event. It's coming up next week. It's going to be at the McHale Brown Activity Room. And it's not in the gym this time because the city and FEMA will be set up in the gym during hurricane assistance. But this particular charrette is related to the improvements that we've talked about before to Palmetto Park, Caroline Village, and Walnut Oak Apartments. And this will be a chance for the community to give input and design what they want to see those developments look like, as well as the neighborhood around it. The next item is, I attended on the 28th of September, I attended the mural unveiling at the Total Entertainment Music Store. And the next person on our agenda, Mr. Lee, willfully and anxiously donated his parking lot for the event, and we filled it up. And I thank you again for that. But it was a huge turnout in terms of musicians. It was a huge musician crowd there, along with city officials and city employees. And on November 9th, this past Saturday, I attended the Harold V. Lucas Jr. Foundation Gala. Our MC over there, Mr. Thompson, did an awesome job, and he's also on the board. But this is an event that's in the heart of Daytona Beach, right in the heart of Midtown, with Mr. Lucas and all that he's done for many generations. And it's always amazing to see him at whatever age he's at get on the floor and dance. Yeah. It's always exciting to see that. The next item is I will email the Midtown accomplishments to you. I've mentioned 2 meetings in a row that I have them, but this time I will email them to you. And then the last item is each of you have a copy of the 2025, that's not the last item, that's next to the last item. Each of you have a copy of the 2025 board meeting schedule. And that meeting schedule will be, I guess, posted unless we have some obvious changes, which I don't think we have. Some of the boards meet on days where it coincides with holidays, but the second Tuesday does not coincide with any holidays. So that'll be the schedule that we move forward with. And the last item is Ms. Richardson is currently serving as our chair, and Ms. Bonner is serving as our vice chair. Ms. Richardson's term actually ends December 31st of this year, and she will no longer be able to serve after December. So if this board, and I'll reach out to Ms. Shepherd as well as Pastor Lake, if you all can come up with nominees, even if you want to communicate those names to me, I can reach out to the board member and see if they would be interested in being nominated for either the chair. Hopefully Ms. Bonner will slide over as chair, and we'll get a new vice chair, or open it up to whoever is willing to serve. But this is, next month is Ms. Richardson's last meeting as chair. She can continue to serve until she is replaced. I don't know if they have one already, but they will let me know in the clerk's office. And the same with Ms. Hardy. She's aware that her term ended, and she's continuing to serve because no one has applied who's qualified. But they may have some candidates going to the December commission meeting. And I'll know that once we get closer to that date. But that concludes everything that I wanted to share with the board. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? That's it.
Dates on the calendar now.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. And moving forward, spotlight. Mr. Pierre.
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. Good evening, Madam Chair, and to the board members and to our listening audience that's here. One of the things I always think that's always so great is to see new businesses or conditioned businesses in the Midtown area. I was doing my normal walk on my way to the gym, and I happened to see that thing about the total entertainment. I saw the cars there. The next week I came by there walking. The next time I saw a sign go up. Next time I saw a bunch of people up. Next week I saw a big submarine sandwiches and everything. I mean, this thing was going up fast. Either way, I stuck my head in, being nosy, like I always is, and met the new owner that's there. And that's the gentleman that we're going to talk about this evening. He owns a company that's there called MAACO. I actually need some body work on my car. And as a good business owner, every time I see him, he says, when are you going to bring your car in? When are you going to bring your car in? So at that moment, I'd like to introduce Mr. Richard Lee, the owner of MAACO Bodyshop. And I will bring my car in soon. Mr. Lee, you're up.
Thank you for the very warm introduction. Like he said, I'm a new business owner in the community right up the street here on 511 West ISB Boulevard.
Okay.
We took over for the old muscle car, vintage car
Okay.
shop. So like he mentioned as well, we had a ribbon cutting on Halloween Day. The Daytona Chamber helped us with that.
Okay.
But one of the most important things for me is being a new business owner, adding back to the community. So a lot of my vendors I use, local shops like Don Bell Signs, and then also RJ Group for the roofing, and then the local electricians. So not only trying to establish myself in the business and obviously to make money as well, giving back and sharing with the community. One thing we were able to do, I want to share with you guys as well, is working with Don Bell Signs. An elderly woman over there had a older car that she couldn't get body work done and painted. So they took a collection up and we discounted it a very, very good price for her. And we did the body work and painted one of her older trucks, a 1994 Ford Ranger. So that was actually in the hometown news last week. So I'm very fond of giving back to the community, and I'm excited to working with the community members in the city as well. With that said, obviously, new owner, they give out promotions and discounts to our loved ones and beloved city employees, our public servants, protectors of the city, friends and family discounts, senior discount, first responder discount. Come on by, I'll leave some business cards.
Okay.
But any questions or just, I'm really excited about being in the community and getting involved with everyone as well.
Well, we are excited to have you an added addition to our community. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We will take you up on those additions, and I look forward to seeing growth. And thank you for having the heart to give back to our community.
You're very welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You're a new resident to Daytona, or you were here already?
I'm a commuter resident of Daytona. I actually live in Orlando.
Okay. How did you do your research about the opportunity in Daytona Beach? What drew you to?
So my business partner and I opened up one in Savannah. We franchised that one.
Mm-hmm.
And looking in the geographic area of Florida, I noticed that between Jacksonville, Brevard, and Orlando, there wasn't a MAACO or kind of that paint needs. I know there's some local ones, some mom and pop shops, and literally in Econo paint in the area. but I really wanted to find that pocket where I could develop the business and bring MAACO back to the community. I had heard there was one up, like Nova near Holly Hill.
Yeah.
That closed a little while back.
Right.
Not the same owners, obviously, but I know a lot of people use that business and were sad when it closed. So there was an opportunity to kind of come back and fulfill that need. And with the MAACO franchising, the pocket and the opportunity was there as well.
Okay.
Okay.
'Cause I wondered what happened to them, and I used them before on Nova Road up there.
Yeah, the automotive shops I've been talking to kind of voicing the same opinion where, hey, they were really great. I thought they were going to be here forever. Not sure what happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know the backstory on that one either, though.
Any other questions? Well, again, welcome to our community and thank you for all that you do.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Moving forward, we are addressing old business. We have none. And new business. Does anybody have any new business? Bill? Well, the only thing that I'd like to say with the new business is pre-registration has started with Department of Children and Families for DSNAP, Hurricane DSNAP food stamps. And it started yesterday. So from November 11th to November 15th, they are doing pre-registration where you will apply online to do and complete the pre-registration. Once you have completed the pre-registration, they will be doing phone interviews from November 12th to November 15th. And once you do the pre-registration, it'll give you the opportunity and tell you what day you're supposed to call to do the phone interview. It is based on the last name and the phone number for the pre-registration interview. It's 1-888-348-0408. And if you missed the pre-registration or you missed the interview, you can actually go. There will be an announcement for the on-site location if you missed the pre-registration and the interview. But DSNAP has started and it will be happening for 3 days, the end of November, the on-site. But the pre-registration has started with the applications for food stamp benefits for anyone who has not currently and is not currently receiving food stamp benefits only. All right. Public comments, we will take John Nickerson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue, Beachside. A couple of things. At the City Commission, they were talking about dredging Nova Canal, and Monica made a comment about they're only dredging a foot. And with the accumulation of muck on the bottom, if you've accumulated 5 feet of muck and you take out 1 foot, it still leaves 4 foot of muck that will not accommodate water. So I'm wondering, I'm asking the city to make sure that the Army Corps of Engineers, that they look at the depth that they started with. When they first put in Nova Canal, you want to go back to that because the more water that is maintained in that canal, the less will go into the neighborhood. Secondly, if you've noticed the old driver's license station, from there to the south end of Soul City is a huge area that could either be a park or a pond. It is, the canal runs by it, but then you've got about 50, 70 feet before you hit Keat Street. That can be dug out to create a pond or a lake there to absorb water. And if they don't want to do that, turn it into a park. There's a need for a park in the area. Secondly, I went to see the property that was just acquired on MMB, and I got lost coming out because I wanted to see something else. And when they did the lots next to Cherry Center, There are 52 lots that could be houses built. They're not building them because they're supposedly an eagle. But the exact same lots are right next to where you're buying. I think there are 27 of them. I kind of went around quickly and guessed at about 27. I don't know what the project was next to it. But why aren't we building? I mean, I believe it's HUD housing because it looks exactly like it. If you can get 27 houses, 27 is better than nothing. I know they did an RFP for 2 properties in Midtown to have somebody build. Ask them to do the same thing and put an RFP, see how many houses can be built in that lot. And third, they had a meeting today for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. They have it every couple of months. And during that, I suggested that, well, one, I want them to have another major event for the city. We have 9, and there's 3 months in which we don't have a major event. So I asked them to put a major event because CVB started Oktoberfest. They started Jeep Week. If they can do that, and both of those are over 100,000 people, they could create another one, all right? And then I asked them, I said, well, how about creating one for Midtown? About 8, 9 years ago, the granddaughter of Mary McLeod Bethune talked to me about starting an event for her grandmother. But she wanted it on the beach side. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense. One, her statue is here, her school is here, the road is here, and her house is here. Why have an event somewhere else? I think Neil Thurston is over in...
Zora Neale Hurst.
Yep. They have a huge event, all right? Why can't we have an event of that nature here, right where the college is, because that's an automatic 4,000 people showing up at the event. And then there's about 11,000 people that live in the neighborhood who would show up with the event because it's within walking distance. Beachside is not literally within walking distance. So I asked them, I said, I just read that Neil Thurston, whatever it is,
Yeah, Zora Neale Hurst.
lived in Daytona Beach for a while. I never knew that.
Yes.
So we've got 4 major, internationally known figures. Why aren't we capitalizing on that? All right? We hit all the time Mary McLeod Bethune. All right? Everybody hits that day in and day out. Second one is Jackie Robinson. I didn't know either one of those two when I went to school because the only one I knew was Howard Thurman because his connection to Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. So I knew him, and yet we don't even talk about him. And now we have this famous writer who lived in town, and we don't talk about her either. And then we have the Campbell Hotel, and I'm told that there were very famous entertainers that went there. And I believe Satchmo pops up, okay? So if we have those kind of people coming into our town, Paula Reed has a book kind of thing that she has, book
I
festival.
think the Fresh Book Festival that Dr.
Right.
Banks
Can we
does,
expand that to include these people and the other famous people that grew up? Because we don't need, we do need another festival on the beach side. We've got 9. I'm fighting for 10 and 11. But there's no real large festival in Midtown with over 100,000 people. So I'm thinking that if we're going to create one, I think it really should be in Midtown, and I really think you've got the makings of one if you take Paula Reed's starting group and expand it to the famous people that were here in town. Thank you. Oh, by the way, Campbell Hotel, the city manager was at our Beachside Neighborhood Watch. There's somebody looking at taking over the Campbell Hotel and redoing it. So that could be an option popping up in the future. Oh, and lastly, the DeSoto property. That I wish you would take that ugly house on the corner. But also, if you go south, next to this house, there's a vacant lot. There's a house and 2 more vacant lots. If you could take that house, you could have an entire city block to have townhouses for an entire city block. There's an awful lot of space between the house that you're purchasing, the vacant lot, the house, and 2 more vacant lots. I don't know, will you get 8 more townhouses or 10 more townhouses? Everyone helps. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Lewis?
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. Good evening, Madam Chair, and to the board again. I actually didn't think I had many comments, but I've got just one really that I'm going to be talking to the City Commission very shortly about, and that's concerning fencing. I got an approval to get a fence installed at my house. The challenge is the way they have it set up is they say the fence, the front of the fence, the setback has to be 20 feet. Number one, it looks atrocious if you do it that way. Well, you've got that fence all the way back to the middle of your yard. That's what they're saying is there. So I did my research as somebody said, well, Pierre, that's what you do. But it is true. I did my research, and according to the county, there's no setback for a fence that's there. So I called code, and I called their office to talk to them about it, and they said, well, you have to look at the land development code. The challenge is, and just I mentioned it to my commissioners, that there's nothing in the land development code that says it has to be back 20 feet. So they said another different area that I had to go to, but then when you go back to that, the reason their validation behind it was to say to me, well, kind of that's the way it's always been done, but nothing in land development code that says it has to be that way. So when I talked to AAA Fence, they mentioned to me, they said, you know, if you can get them to understand that, guess what? Daytona Beach is the only city that does that. AAA installed thousands and thousands, the way it's explained to me, thousands and thousands of fences around, and the only person that gives them that 20-foot setback is Daytona Beach as far as that area. Their thing is that, well, it's in the land development code, but the way it was explained to me is the lady I talked to on the phone said, well, you have to really be in the business to look at it. I said, well, I'm not a land development code expert, but I can read. And when I read stuff like that, it's not there. So I mentioned it to the commission. I said, yeah, I'll do my homework, my due diligence, to make sure I'm not speaking, as they say, out the side of my neck, as the kids say. But I'll find out for sure. But I just think that their reasoning is something called stacking. And stacking is one of the things that I understand that's for like a major highway, not for neighborhood roads that are there. So they have been doing this policy like this, well, just because the other guy did it that way, whether or not it's back. And my conversation, as I explained to them, is that the land development code, to my knowledge, is a living document just like the Constitution. And based upon things change, and maybe they could change it, or at least look at that. And the reason I want it, I know, obviously in my area, is because the way it sets up to the concrete wall that's there, if they set it back 20 feet, because of what's going on in my area, people are still gonna sit on that wall and be almost still in my yard if you go by there. And let me say it this way, I don't personalize it at all, not at all. My thing is the process that if they're doing it that way for this one residence that's there, it should be the same standards throughout the entire city of Daytona Beach. And if the land development code says that it has to be that way, so be it. Salute you, then we'll follow the land development code. But for somebody to just say, well, just we've always done it that way, and the land development code does not actually say that, and we are the only city that does that. We've got Holly Hill, I called New Smyrna, they don't do it. I called Ormond Beach, they don't do it. Nobody does it. So it kind of seems a little bit odd. That's all I'm saying. So I mentioned it to the board here because my home is obviously, my castle, as I call it. My castle is in the Midtown area. And as I'm putting together Camelot, I will mention it, as I mentioned to the city commissioner. She said, put it in writing, Pierre, and address it with you. And I didn't want the board members to be blindsided by that. I'm only asking for, if that treatment is done everywhere, I want it to be the same, that's all. And I don't want to tell me that it's just because this guy likes it that way or she likes it that way. I like for it to be fair, and I like to be done according to what the code says it's supposed to be. And that's my comments. Thank you.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right, we are moving on to board comments. Ms. Hardy?
Oh, having a great meeting.
All right,
I'm happy to still be here.
okay. Ms. Bonner?
Likewise, again, thank you, Mr. Lee, for joining us and providing that information, and all of you. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson?
Y'all still got the same commercials? Okay. I remember.
We'll remember that piece, right, if nothing else.
Okay.
No, I would, when will we start, since to the staff, when would, I'm excited to see the purchases. When do we expect to see, dirt turned and stuff like that? I know we still got stuff to get done,
Yep, and
papers to get moved and all that, signed and all that, but when do the citizens get to see something happening?
I don't have a answer for you today. We have not literally closed on the laundromat property. That closing date has not been set. So the property at the former Campbell Hotel, we just closed on the 5th of November and the 7th of November, just last week. All of this is fresh, as soon as we can. I don't know if we've hired a purchasing agent. The purchasing agent who was there here at the City of Daytona, she resigned. There's one individual full-time in our purchasing department. So if you know of anybody who needs a purchasing job, and they must be good, we just don't want anybody. They got to be good. Have them apply. Part of what we do has to go through purchasing. Part of what we do costs money. That was one of the reasons why I mentioned before we went to the Florida Redevelopment Association conference that we're looking for partners. Our partners have to have more money than us because we don't have all the money. We're looking for partners. We have some possibilities on the horizon for the Campbell Hotel as well as the laundromat property at DeSoto and MMB, but as soon as we can. City manager and the commissioners want dirt turned quick.
Yeah, and my question is twofold because it will generate a lot of excitement within the community. But the other side of that coin is that potential sellers in the community will think that y'all got all the money in the world too, which we know the city does not. But for the sake of the citizenry in Midtown, I think it would be a very exciting thing to see Midtown rising out of the ashes, so to speak.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
All right. This has been a wonderful meeting. Very excited about all of the changes, updates, information, and we are adjourned. All right.